We are live on the air. This is Amuni Israel. We back. Hope everybody's doing well. This is going to be a review. I don't know how quick it's going to be, but it's going to be a review of the Say Her Name, Sandra Bland documentary. I saw that it was coming out, and I was like, HBO. I don't got HBO. And I want, my mother was telling me, and I was like, you know what? So then I looked, and HBO had a little sign up special. So I said, let me go and sign up so that I can take a look at this documentary and see if there's anything in addition that they put in there. Because let me just do a little disclaimer. Like at the time that it was happening, I actually like went into this, I don't know how long of just like researching because she had an extensive social media um history of posting. So social media is a space where if somebody's growing and evolving, you can definitely see their trek in that space, right? And so at the time when I think I was studying for the Angry Black Woman Syndrome Revisited, that book. I think I was studying or whether I did the book, but anyway, it felt the news reports that I saw in the news, and that's what like 3 years ago now. So the reports that I was seeing on the news and the way she was being classified, I kind of used the situation. And before I start, I want to say many condolences once again to her family, many condolences to those who are still mourning, because when this comes up again, as it is, it's like freshly re-injuring the wound, right? And so let's fast forward. So I had that kind of background of watching all of the tapes, watching all of the jail documentary footage, watching her behavior, her mannerism, her characteristics, watching all of the videos to try to find out what happened and what went wrong, not necessarily as what the documentary is going for, basically like who killed her or how did she die, because that information is still inconclusive, and the information that the coroner gave and all of the findings that they found, the family is still not satisfied with that. And one of the things that I keep hearing said is that, she was a strong woman, she was sassy, and there's no way that someone of this caliber can fall to what you guys are suggesting, which is taking her own life. That is something that ties into this stereotype of the strong melanated woman, strong Black woman, that you don't have weak moments. And I'm not necessarily going to go into how she died because I don't know the fullness of it. What I did want to take a look at is her life. And the reason why I wanted to take a look at her life is because within her journey that she shared in social media and videos and things of that nature, it looks as though there are many people that were along the way that could have possibly, you know, interceded before it got to this point. So, once something of this nature happens and blame is looking to be placed, you're going to have people digging up records. You're going to have people digging up encounters. One report said there was marijuana, a great amount in the system, and another report says there's not. And then one report brought out all of the traffic infractions that happened before. Why is this important? Not to place blame, because I'm coming, as always, from a solonomics perspective. It's not to place blame, it's to get understanding. So according to what I came across, the sister had I'm going to try to mirror, line up some of the things that the documentary was saying, although some of this stuff did not come into the documentary. And like I said, I think the documentary was more focused on what happened to the family thereafter and their fight to get justice for her, right? That was kind of like the angle. Everything has an angle. But again, her life, everyone is just like many people are made martyrs in our community. But when you suffer in silence. And then when something happens, then people look that this is a cause that we can get behind, not really dealing with the root cause of certain issues. But there was some information that the sister, Mosai Resta, at this point had a number of infractions, traffic infractions with police in the past, whether it be speeding tickets, whether it be a warrant, whether it be, operating a vehicle without insurance, operating the vehicle without uninsured or compromised license. Why do I bring this up? This plays into something that they noted in the documentary, that she had to go, she decided that she was going to go back to her alma mater in Texas for a job because she graduated and could not find a job. So that speaks one, that one is kind of bright. That speaks to the economic system in America. That speaks to, this thought process that, you're going to take the children, they graduate from high school, you tell them to go to college, and when they come out of college, they're in debt, right? And if you can't find a job, then you're further in debt, which adds more stress and more issues, and it compounds the issue. So she falls into the category of the hundreds of thousands of children who now become young adults who go into the world and cannot find a job, even though they did what you said that they should do. So in some spaces where you see that she has traffic infractions and suspended license, what that's telling me is either A, the person doesn't have access to economic, gainful employment where they can pay these things. And it was over a 10-year span from 18 to about 28, which is when she passed. So keep that in mind, economic stresses that may have been playing in her life. They have like possession of marijuana. Again, many of our people turn to something to escape their reality, their harsh reality. Now the sun is coming out, and I'm just keeping like this. It's been in my face. And so these are some of the things that I was looking at as I'm going to now share with you. This is before it actually gets to the point where she starts having this Sandy Speaks discussion. Now, in the documentary, they stated that before she had, and again, for those who just joined us, I'm reviewing in a Solonomics manner, Sandy Bland, Say Her Name documentary that aired on HBO. And I'm going to be sharing from the perspective, like I said, of having done a lot of the back work before today. In the documentary, they said that she already had been, was it in the documentary? That she had piled up of fines, and they agreed that she would do the time. This was before this actual arrest, that she would do the time. And when she met the amount of days that would add up to the time that she needed to do. Hold on for me 1 second, because the baby seemed to just be making a whole lot of noise. 1 second. Okay. All right. So sorry about that. When she did the time, they said she did 30 days. Okay, keep this in mind, because all of this, when we actually come into the story, unless you're doing the research or you're listening, actively listening, you're not going to be putting this all together as to what could possibly have happened at the end. So she did 30 days, I believe, in a county jail or wherever to pay for the fines that she owed in one place. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, they said she came back and did another 2 weeks in another space to compensate for the amount of monies that she was owing, but she did not have the ability to pay. So, once they mess with your license and your insurance, then that messes with your ability to do what it is that you need to do. So what is this here? It's saying in 2014, there was upwards of, did I miss? Why am I bringing this up? Okay, they said at the time of her death, she still owed a total of $7,579 in court fines resulting from 5 traffic stops in various Chicago suburbs, including a DUI, and she had been cited several times for her failure to pay those fines. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So we're gonna go forward now, because at the, why is this important to me anyways? If the family, one of the questions that I had is like, why didn't the family, why she was frantically making phone calls. They said she made over 20 something phone calls. And that was, you can see the anxiety in the tape. And my question was, well, why didn't the family help her out? They said it was $5,000 bond, and she had to pay the 10%, so $500. The one sister she got in contact with says, she testifies or she shares that Sandy says she's going to call her back. They had the bail bondman in the documentary, and the bail bondsman was like, it was $500, but he spoke to one of the family members, and the family member said they got rent to pay. Keep in mind, if this is an ongoing cycle in their minds with her, and this has happened on more than one occasion, then there's a possibility, there's a backstory that we're not really hearing the fullness of the backstory, but there's a possibility that the family could have been like, well, this is not that urgent. This has happened before. I'm aware of whatever. If she, at the time of her passing, untimely passing, she's $7,000 in fines, and the family has heard this and they've been through this with her before, then, like I said, there's a possibility why you didn't see like the urgency. Even her mother was like, it was just 3 days. You know what I'm saying? They were going to get to her on Monday, but all of these things could have been playing in her mind. So let's fast forward. Let's rewind from that point. Like I said, we can't necessarily solve it, but we can take a look at the psychological profile to see what was happening, and not just to say, oh, let's see what's happening in her case. These are some of the signs and symptoms. This is why I talk about this stuff so much, that we miss in our people, and we shake it off because we've been through so much, and we're the strongest people, and we've come through so much, and you can do it and just forget about it. So things like depression in our mind is not real. Things like, mental disturbances in our mind is not real. There's on record saying that she wrote on the jail form that she had just experienced miscarriage, okay? And the sister testifies that she had a miscarriage a couple of weeks, if not a few months before that time, okay? So there's a lot of things going on in her mind. And there was also a section that the family contested, but they said she wrote it down. Has she ever tried to take her own life at one time? And she said one time after the miscarriage, okay, by pills. Again, this is bringing attention to, I had shared a video before that says Black people don't go to therapy. And there's actually a little mini doc that some people put together about this thought of the stigma about addressing possible weaknesses, possible ailments mentally and emotionally in our character. And we brush it off as like, all you got to do is go to church. All you got to do is da-da-da-da, and it'll go away. And that's not the reality, okay? So I'm going to continue. That was the backdrop. So now we're going to, if you will, look at some of her woke moments. Because if we compile all of that she had preceding this point, I'm going to let her speak in some of her own words, but she's growing up in a suburb in Chicago. She has a lot of European people around her. Her mother, by her mother's own estimation, or I don't say estimation, her own that's the word I'm looking for, y'all. These days, I can't find the words. By the mother's own testimony, she was the warden. And I saw some document on her Facebook page during that time that her father had passed. So you have a bit of imbalance going on, and you have, I believe it's like 5 sisters or something of that nature, okay? And so she's like number 4th of the 5 sisters. So you have all of those dynamics going on. And according to the mother, she was always a little sassy. She always spoke her mind, this, that, and the third, okay? But she did go to school. The sister says she was the first to move away. This is how she ends up in Texas. She got a scholarship, a band scholarship, and she ends up going down to this small place, Prairie View, Texas, that, is known for racism and things of that nature. So she would have experienced these things. So now when she comes back to Chicago and looking for work and looking to find her place and looking to find her voice, you begin to see her journey of becoming woke. But the thing about becoming woke is there's so many things that are attached to that, right? That people don't realize that if the process is, if you don't have help along the way, and if you are already ostracized, and then you get into a space when you're really ostracized because of the information and the things that you're saying, that's a lonely space. And if you already have issues that you're fighting with and you don't know how to deal with them, and you maybe turn into drinking or maybe turn into smoking, it's a difficult space to be in. And as you see her journey, which I'm going to share a little bit right now, she was beginning to wake up, okay? Which would mean that she would stick out. Wait. Let me, okay. So let's go here. I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right. I'm gonna share my screen. And we're going to watch a little video. This is her speaking in her own words. This is January the 15th, okay? This is her first video. Just take note. It's not that long. And then we're going to honor the sister by actually hearing what she's saying and not making her say what we want her to say, because that's one of the things we're missing. We're missing actually hearing one another, actually identifying with one another. Instead, we project onto one another, or we take a situation and make it into what we want it to be. And still, like I said before, the other issues, the underlying issues are not addressed. So let me first play. Okay, hold on. There's no sound. You said there's no sound? Let me know that. Let's try this again. Let me see if I can get it where we can get some sound from it. All right, we're gonna work on the sound. We're gonna work on the sound. 1 second. I might just have to play it on my side and not capture the screen. All right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. I'm going to. Okay, you can hear me. So what I'm gonna do is just gonna press it. I kind of wanted you to see her because there's a transformation from when she started to when she ended. But if you're not hearing, let me see 1 second here. Let me see if I play it on YouTube if you can hear me. Un momento, por favor. Yes, and I would agree. It does become a lonely, sometimes scary, sometimes frustrating walk. There is a process because what happens, as I'm trying to get this up, what happens is that when we begin to wake up, it is disconnecting from the falsehood, right? And once we begin to disconnect from falsehood and seeking truth, there's an uncertainty. This is why a lot of people still stay within falsehood because it's comfortable, it's familiar. But once you begin to wake up from this falsehood, it becomes uncomfortable because you don't know what to expect. You don't know, your whole foundation is ripped up. And to a certain degree, we begin to go through a grieving process. Right? All the emotions are going on at one time. Who do I trust? Who would I believe? No one believes me. The place I used to be, I don't belong anymore. And you feel like an outsider, and you feel like a black sheep. And if you don't have any familiar people around you or people who can identify with you, and you already have the pressures of the world on your head and on your mind, only the creator knows what direction you may end up in. So we have to keep this in mind while we're looking at her case. And many people are just saying, what happened to Sandy Bland? Like I said years ago, I'm like, let's start at the top. Let's start at the top. Let's not say what happened to Sandy Bland right now. Let's say what happened to Sandy Bland along the way. Okay. So let me see if you guys can hear and see. if I do it, if I play it from YouTube as opposed to the thing, and then we'll see if it goes there. Because I kind of want you guys to see it, and if it doesn't work, then we'll just listen to the we'll just listen. So let's see here. So this is January 15th. This is the first one, okay? Okay, still. Okay, still no sound, still no sound, still no sound. So what I'm gonna do is just play it without the image. We're gonna let the sister speak. It says Sandy speak. We're gonna let the sister speak. Still no sound. We're gonna let the sister speak. So what I'm gonna do is just play it without the image. We're gonna let the sister speak. It says Sandy speak. We're gonna let the sister speak. All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna let the sister speak. So what I'm gonna do is just play it without the image. All right, sorry. We're gonna let the sister speak. It says Sandy speak. We're gonna let the sister speak. All right, we're gonna do this. So what I'm gonna do is just play it without the image. All right, sorry. We're gonna let the sister speak. It says Sandy speak. We're gonna let the sister speak. All right, we're gonna do this. Oh, wait a minute. This thing is like reverbing 50 million times, man. Okay, how about now? I'm sorry about all that, y'all. Just go ahead and sorry about all that. This is I thought it would work from there, but I'm gonna play it with no sound. And maybe I'll just show. Let me see if I can turn off the thing on my. Well, you see what she looks like at this point. So I'm just gonna play. I'm just gonna play it here. Hold on. Let me take me off so you won't be distracted here. All right. All righty. Let's try this one more time. Are they not trying to let Sandy speak? You see this? They are not trying to let Sandy speak. This is some hot mess right here. Hold on. This is some hot mess. We're going to let Sandy speak. We're going to let Sandy speak. Hold on. We're going to let Sandy speak. Stand by. What I'm going to do at this point, since for whatever reason, it's not letting it, I'm going to look it up on my cell phone. They're trying to mess up the kid. We need her to speak so that we can know what to look out for, so that we can know the warning signs, so that we can address the issues that we need to address. Because the reality is, Most High rest her, at this point, she is gone, just like those who've come before us, but not gone because we can still learn from and be edified from the life of those who came before us. So we're going to let the sister speak. This is going to be like my 5th attempt. Like I told you, for me, it's all good because I went in on this research, but let's see here. Let's try one more again. Tell me if you can hear it now.
No, so I don't know what it looked. Anyway, I am getting ready for bed. And before I go to sleep, um, there has been something really big, really heavy on my mind. A seed that I feel like God has truly planted in my life. Work that He has set for me to do, a message that He has for me to get out. So before I go to sleep on today, January 14th, 2015, I wanted to make this video message and plant my seed of Sandy Speaks. I know my head probably looks a little crazy right now, but the idea behind Sandy Speaks is that I'm going to take the situations, the ideas, everything that's going on in the news, and I want to get feedback from the children. I feel like with the police brutality and all of the things that have been going on in the news, a lot of people have been making noise and expressing their opinions about how they feel. And somewhere along the way, we forgot about an important group, which are the kids. Um, I don't have any kids. I do have an 8-year-old and a 14-year-old nephew. Sorry, my battery about to die. I ain't even got my cord. I do have an 8-year-old and a 14-year-old nephew, and I want to hear their point of view. I want to know what they feel about just the things that they've heard in the news, even though they might not watch the news. Things like social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of this stuff is in it, so they know about it. And I want to get some dialogue started with them. I want to see what they feel. It's time to do something. I am so tired of turning on the news and seeing another story about just foolishness. There's so much craziness going on in the world out here that is really, truly more important to just America as a whole than some stupid TV show about a sorority. No offense, I'm in a group and I liked the show. I thought it was funny, and I feel like for once, despite the normal behavior of women in general when they're in a group in that setting, they were all business women. They were all trying to do something positive with themselves. So whatever group out there felt the need to push to get the show removed because it reflected you in a nasty light, how about you put that energy towards, something really serious out here, and that is the preservation of our kids. So, like I said, through Sandy Speaks, we are going to open up a door, open up a gateway for the kids. What I would like you all to do, if you've got kids, and it doesn't even have to be just for the kids, some things they may not be able to comment on, but now would be the perfect time if you feel like your child is too young to kind of start opening the door to them and educating them on interacting with police. I don't think it's ever too early, in all honesty, because the way that our kids are growing nowadays, I got a 2-year-old niece that.
So I wanted to put a pause real quick. Because she's saying a lot, but here we see her